Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
Our storm team has been keeping an eye on some storms that could produce rain tonight, and it's pretty active in the valley this evening. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, let's throw it over to Lisa Green now for the very latest on those rumblings that are out there. Lisa, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. Well, the severe threat really has been limited today because that low and cloud cover has kind of kept our instability down. So that's good news for us here in the valley. We are getting some rain, reports of more than an inch this afternoon in areas where you see that shower and thunder shower activity over towards Stutsman County, Griggs, and southeastern Foster County tonight. That's where we're seeing a little more than an inch of rain, and we're still getting more on top of that in some very thirsty areas out there this evening. This extends down toward the Ellendale area and other scattered showers and storms in parts of Lakes Country in Minnesota. There is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for areas mainly south of our viewing area. Traverse County in Minnesota and also Roberts County under this watch until 10 o'clock tonight, but the threat really is a little farther south and east. A flash flood watch in effect for the James River Valley until 10 o'clock tonight. So we're getting some rain, and there are some more storms coming in the forecast. Not everybody's seen the rain tonight, may have a chance to get some more even through the weekend. I'll have details on that in just a few minutes.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much.
The West Fargo Police Department has released video from a liquor store burglary that occurred yesterday morning. Here's a look at it. It happened at the Liquor Mart on Cheyenne Street. You can see cinder blocks were used to throw through the window and then two people going inside. The burglars did get away with several bottles of alcohol. West Fargo Police Department is asking if you have any information, contact them, 701-433-5500.
One of the department chairs at UND's School of Medicine is in jail for child pornography. The Grand Forks Police Department was tipped off by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. An investigation revealed IP addresses associated to this man, Robert Beatty. He has been arrested for possession and disseminating child pornography. According to the University of North Dakota, Beatty is a department chair for family and community medicine.
There could be a quicker solution to not enough ice time for young hockey players and skaters. A planning group for West Fargo schools is recommending moving construction of a $16 million hockey facility up 2 years from 2018 to 2016. The Long Range Task Force says the change allows for a faster decision to be made for students currently beginning hockey practice. More than 600 kids are in the West Fargo program, and school officials say a new facility is needed. The group recommends a public vote for funding of this arena and several other projects, including 2 elementary schools, a gym, and a pool at West Fargo High. That would cost roughly $86 million. Voters may also be asked about a second $100 million referendum for another elementary school, middle school, and high school. Now, the school board will make a decision in September whether to move forward on this. After that, West Fargo voters will decide in November.
Thousands are killed every year from drivers running red lights. About half of those deaths are pedestrians, bicyclists, or people in the other car who are hit. This week is Stop on Red Week.
And a push for awareness made by the National Coalition for Safer Roads. Local police tell us running a red light is the second biggest reason for crashes in the area. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson shows us how yellow is too yellow to make it through the light.
You hear a lot of the same excuses. Mainly, I didn't think I could stop in time is a popular one.
Sergeant Jim Kringley has heard every reason for running a red light.
It is a major problem in most of the cities in North Dakota.
He says a lot of people think yellow means floor it.
As soon as that yellow light comes on, unless you're right at the intersection, they should stop. Slow down, prepare to stop. If not, clear the intersection.
Oftentimes, those running a red light get away with it.
To go after the traffic violator, that officer might have to run the red light himself and also cross 6 lanes of traffic. So the officer hopefully uses common sense, saying that's not a safe thing to do.
If it's yellow, what do you do?
Well, I stop and caution if it doesn't turn just as I get there.
It turns yellow, I mean, I'm not going to floor it to go through it, I'm going to stop. So right when it turns yellow, I'd probably think it was red.
What type of driver would you call yourself?
I'm a pretty safe driver, I'd say, because I think most people are pretty crazy at driving.
We all are always in a hurry. We're never really paying attention, and we look both ways, and if there's nothing coming, sometimes we just go. And I think it's a bad habit that some of us are get into.
Sometimes people will stop at a red light, look, treat it like a stop sign, and then drive through it.
Sergeant Kringley says don't overthink it. Yellow means prepare to stop.
Some others say, well, I have a really long vehicle. I didn't think I could get the entire vehicle through the intersection at the time.
Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
In North Dakota, the fine is $20 if you're caught running a red light. The National Coalition for Safer Roads put together an interactive map that shows where and how many deaths occur when people run red lights. Now, we have a link to that on our website. Go to valleynewslive.com and click on the hot button.
The whole city is going to be impacted, including landlords and tenants, by a new city policy. The policy deals with new rental inspections in Fergus Falls, and the idea came from other cities across Minnesota, and it's aimed at keeping apartments well maintained and safe.
This policy is voluntary, so landlords can opt in or out, but at a cost. Valley News Team's Ashley Bishop investigates why some landlords feel the policy is not necessary.
The city of Fergus Falls has about 700 apartments. Many are older homes turned into apartment units.
More tenants coming with complaints to the city as far as their properties or the properties that they're renting not being maintained in a safe, sanitary, and healthy condition.
The policy allows landlords to voluntarily participate in a multi-tier inspection program. Landlords who opt out must pay a higher apartment fees. The policy will also give the city more flexibility in revoking rental licenses.
It's not really an enforcement. We feel it's an educational one. And we also feel that rental properties are like a business. It would be the same as running a restaurant, or there's certain standards, requirements that need to be followed.
While some landlords support the new rental inspection policy, others do not, saying there are an array of issues wrong with it.
For the city to come in and inspect a property and develop a list that the landlord needs to take care of to meet certain standards, you need to be prepared for that. And part of the resentment that landlords have is that they really don't know what they're being faced with.
Landlord Roger Ingelson's biggest concern is the inspection list.
Frankly, it's intimidating, and I think most owners reading through the list would find things that they would rather not have to deal with, especially on the spur of the moment.
Ingelson and at least a dozen other landlords have contacted the city about their objections. He says he's selling a few of his rental properties because of the policy.
To my count, there's been at least 30 to 33 houses that have been put on the market this spring as a direct result of this policy promoted by the city.
In Fergus Falls, Ashley Bishop, Valley News Live.
One of the items uncovered during these inspections is smoke alarms not working. A Fergus Falls firefighter reminds people, check yours periodically.
Experts say it's a new way to pay, but many people say they didn't know about the change until they got that card in the mailbox. Banks are slowly rolling out credit or debit cards with chips, or what's called an EMV card. It's a small square on the card that's encrypted, protecting card users. Banks have started rolling out cards with chips. Both Wells Fargo and U.S. Bank representatives say any new card and anything that has been expired will be replaced with an EMV card.
You cannot afford to be an island on this one. You will suffer significant losses because they'll find out that you have those cards and they don't have chips, and then they'll attack you and your customers.
Many of the larger stores already have technology in place to read these cards, like Target and Walmart. There are several smaller businesses in the area that also told us they will be implementing this technology soon.
Here's some good news. A Fergus Falls couple is rejoicing after a handmade gift that was stolen from their front yard was returned. Roger and Glenda Smith just celebrated their 42nd wedding anniversary. Glenda made the lighthouse for Roger as a gift. It was placed in their front yard this past Saturday. Well, Sunday morning, the lighthouse was gone. After reporting it to local police and spreading the word, the lighthouse has since been returned.
Very shocked and in disbelief, because it's like someone was so honest and so loving that they appreciated what I had done for my husband.
The couple plans to cement the lighthouse in the ground this weekend. It's very grateful for the community's support. Now, tonight at 10 on Valley News Live 10 at 10, hear from Roger about what the lighthouse means to the couple.
A trend that has worked its way across the country will soon be making it to Fargo. It's called an escape room. It's described as a live-action game where participants are locked in a room with clues to find out puzzles and then solve them. Now, the game is meant to challenge your brain and use teamwork to get out of a locked room. The door is locked, but if someone in the group needs to leave for some reason, there's a panic box near the door and it will end the game for everyone. The Fargo Escape Room is located in West Fargo. According to its Facebook page, they'll open in early September, but you can book your room now. Tickets cost $28 a person. They are purchased online. And for more information on this, head to valleynewslive.com and then click on this story.
We're not going anywhere, but
No,
it's totally voluntary.
Yes.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, nearly everyone knows someone heading to WeFest. We check in on the people who make sure WeFest is ready to go.
And concert goers may get rained on at some point in the next couple of days. We have rain moving through the valley right now, even hitting the Detroit Lakes area. I'll have more details on our forecast right after this.